Well, I guess it's that time. Now, I know I've made videos speaking for Marathon and how I wanted to do better and thrive, but I simply can't anymore. I physically don't have it in me. And after 100 hours, my opinion is that Marathon, as beautiful as it is and as deep as it wants you to believe it is, just isn't a good game. But okay, before I unload on this game, let's talk about the positives. I must give props to the studio for implementing raid-like mechanics into an extraction shooter map. That's not something we see very often. Now, as much as people wanna stroke Cryo Archive, I'd like to give a shout out to Outpost. I think the pinwheel base itself is really unique, and the way you get inside makes the internal fights really cool. When it comes to the visuals, Marathon has been very hit or miss. Some say it looks like a bad Roblox game, while some love the colorful and blocky architecture of the maps. Well, yours truly is in the love the colors crowd. I am a sucker for the pretty and brightly colored buildings, as well as characters that look like action figurines. Like, one thing I will forever praise about Marathon, no matter what, is that the game looks good. And now that I've given as much praise as I had in me, I'd like to talk about the things that I personally believe Marathon failed so badly in.
Ooh, that's bad.
Let's start with the obvious question. Who is this game for? Is this game for the super hardcore players?
No!
Because the depth of this game is literally one step above Arc Raiders. You have factions in their respective quests and the cradle that plays the role of a skill tree. Super deep. No crafting, just unlocking stuff to buy in the armory. Is it for the casuals? I'd also say no because of the extremely fast time to kill and the endgame which many can try but only a few can truly thrive in. I don't know, is it for solo players? While solo play is viable, the game was clearly made with trios in mind. I'm still, to this day, so confused on who this game was made for. And the level-based matchmaking is just making everything even worse, because once a certain level is reached, you'll be thrown to the high-level wolves, while you just barely reached level 20. Also, how could I forget seasonal wipes? Every 3 months, everything you worked for, poof, gone. Do it all over again. I'm totally fine with wipes. It balances out the economy and lets everyone start from the same point. If I didn't come back in Season 2 only to be rewarded with loot based on my performance in the previous season, what's the point of wipes if you'll give me loot based on how much I played in the previous season? All this just creates an environment where pros will thrive and the casuals will either fall off or continue being cannon fodder for the hardcores. But let's talk about maps some more. Marathon's maps, for the amount of players in them, are way too small, and I suspect that's by design. I guess Bungie really wanted their gunplay to shine by making sure you fight. Let's say there are 5 or 6 teams on bigger maps. With the amount of people and the small amount of loot and points of interest, you are bound to run into another team. If you want to fight, that's fine by me, you do you. But I thought this was an extraction shooter, not a last man standing battle royale. You're incentivizing me to fight, and while doing so are pushing me away from what the core of the game's supposed to be. The loot and, extracting with that loot. Speaking of loot, if you want the good stuff, you better not be playing maps like Perimeter or Dire Marsh, because we all know the good shit is in Outpost and Cryo, which I think is insanely stupid. Why are you actively deterring me from playing maps I want by giving me shit loot? If all the loot I find on the map is mediocre at best, obviously the really high quality stuff will be on other players. So why should I scavenge the map at all? I'll just run into hot zones and take my chances. Arena Breakout Infinite solved that by having difficulties on maps. Normal is for beginners, Lockdown is for regular play, and Forbidden Zone is for the hardcores. Now again, I'm not here to say what an extraction shooter is or should be, but the more I look at it, the more it feels like the extraction label was an afterthought, a gimmick. But my biggest complaint, however, isn't even about anything specifically gameplay-wise. It's the fact that no matter how polished or how well the gunplay is, this game still feels like a beta. Experiment this, new queue that. It feels like a ship at sea with no captain at the helm, and it's just going left and right with the crew confused as all hell. You could say the devs are listening to feedback and this is a live service game, but you can't ship a game shrouded in uncertainty and hope by season 5 you get some post-nut clarity on what you want it to be. Boy, how do I wrap up a video like this? I guess I'll say some parting words. Marathon should have never been just an extraction shooter. It had potential and the grounds to be so much more. The lore, the world building, the shells, factions, all super interesting stories which could have been told through cutscenes and gameplay. But they decided to settle on one of the most niche genres out there. I always saw Marathon as a platform that has a little something for everyone. Be that Destiny refugees, players sick and tired of Tarkov, or older casuals who wanted a good story from a game they haven't played since way back when. All I can say is, I hope it was worth it. I don't think Marathon will get better, no matter how many band-aid solutions they throw in. The game's foundation is fundamentally too broken to be fixed this far in its life cycle. As someone who was a defender and had an endless amount of hope they'll make a comeback, I don't see it anymore. Not in Season 3, or God knows if they push further than that. If you're enjoying Marathon, I'm happy for you, and I hope the game keeps you entertained. For me, I got my $60 worth, and just like so many Bungie devs, I'm moving on to greener pastures. Stay safe out there, folks.